Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And today I would like to offer a little book review by an author by the name of Silver Ravenwolf, and I really do enjoy a lot of her stuff. This one is actually a collection. It's called Silver's Spells, and it's magic for love, protection, and abundance. So those are the primary three arenas. Originally, there were three individual little books you could pick up, and this is a much larger, much more filled out version, and it's a hardback, so it's kind of nice. And I'm a little rough with this particular book, unfortunately, but it is a fascinating little book, and everything in here is simple. Like, you can, if you're an initiate who's still in his or her first year in a coven, a lot of the spells and advice in here you can literally start today. There's not a lot of, oh, I've got to be in it for 12 years beforehand. The big thing that she recommends as one of your more foundational tools is being able to meditate and to visualize, which is surprisingly easy when you let yourself have the experience. But those are like the big things you need. And each of these sections in the book go through other tools, other ways of working with these energies in the universe. They start off with a section for abundance, which is about 139 pages. Then she goes into a section for love, which goes from 143 to 323, so over 150 pages. And then we have the protection area, and the protection one is kind of interesting because it's personal preventative magic, banishing lesser irritations, and then things getting sticky. And that one is 327 through 483-ish. So you're still looking, each one of these is over 150 pages. And what I really appreciate about Silver, and I've always thought this about her work, is at the back she always puts a little appendix or glossary of different elements and their associations. Excuse me. For example, with this one, she has color correspondences, astrological symbols, planetary hours, moon phases, herbal tables, days of the week for love specifically, and then colors for each day of the week. So you can literally start to, and this is kind of how she works with it, and I agree with her, because this is how I work a lot of the times. Bring all of the elements you can into everyday life. It's not just, oh, I have to do this on the full moon, it's the only time. Those are power days, so it enhances what you're doing, but on the lead up to it, and sometimes after it, if you're doing little stuff through the day, wearing the right colors, or wearing a piece of jewelry that's very specific to a need, those things can actually enhance the working without putting a lot of extra effort into it. So some of my favorites, as you can tell, I've got a few here. We have Abundance from Fire, Mistletoe, and Oak, which is a fun little ritual that you can do. That one you do need a little bit of a place where you can actually have some fire because you burn some stuff. Then she goes through sections for each of the four elements, for Abundance from Water, Air, Earth, and Fire, which is, like I said, kind of up my alley anyway if you watch my videos, because I'm more into the elements than anything else. There's a section in here that talks about prosperity scrolls, and she gives you the symbols that she has used or she has developed over the years. Some come from Dutch. I just completely lost the word. It's a form of Dutch magic. So some of the stuff comes from that. Some of it's stuff that she's intuited herself, and then she always puts these little tags at the end. Like, the spells aren't that long. Like turn the page. Book. Your prosperity scroll spell this is the size. That's it. It's super short, so it's not like you have to slave for days and go find a specific white dove and pluck its 17th feather or any of that nonsense. These are these are actually usable today stuff. But she puts these little sections in here called enhancing the spell. You can perform this particular one at Lammas or when the moon is in Capricorn. That way it will enhance whatever you're using. You can do it when a project is lagging or needs a little kick in the booty to get it moving, specifically when the moon is in Aries. And then you can also do this at new or full moons. So it's not like you can't do it any time of the month or any time of the year. These are specific times when it's going to enhance or amplify what you're doing. And that's where she gets into her planetary hours, which drive me insane. I I have worked with them. Honestly, I haven't seen massive difference. There's a little bit of a boost from them, but everyone has a different experience with them. That's been mine. So, in the section, again on this abundance one, there's a spell for business success. It's literally a page and a quarter, but it goes through the supplies. Like you'll need a dinner plate, some cornmeal, foreign coins. And I like how she does this because it's not always, well, you have to use the coin of your realm. If you're in America, like United States, if you have Canadian coin, that works. If you happen to be a world traveler, pick one from each. Like there's no wrong way to do some of this stuff, which is nice. A red flannel bag, a prosperity incense of your choice, a money oil. If you don't have that, you can just use olive or almond oil. Personally, with prosperity stuff, I like to use almond because it's very fragrant and it reminds me of prosperity and abundance. Olive reminds me of cooking, so almond, there we go, is a much better option for in my world. Then we go into a green candle, a yellow candle, a red candle, a blue candle, a lodestone, which is a natural occurring magnet. But she also puts in here, if you can't find lodestone, refrigerator magnet will work just fine. It's a energy of drawing, so it doesn't matter what it's from. Then just a basic piece of paper. So when you go through this isn't complex stuff. These are literally things you have in your house, with maybe one exception, right now. And from experience, I've played around with several of these. If you don't have to go out and buy 50 billion candles. Trust me. If you're doing a simple quick spell or something that you just kind of need and it's the focus now, it's the intention behind it. With that one in particular, this Better Business one, I've used, this sounds so cheesy, but I've used birthday candles. It worked. So it's not that you have to go out and spend a fortune. And I honestly, when you're trying a lot of this stuff, start with what you can afford. If you can afford to do more, great. If you are, like ends just aren't coming together, work with the divine. And she, like I will talk about a lot, she likes to reference the Lord and Lady, the God and Goddess. Work with them. Be like, I don't have this. What else is my substitution here? One trick I have learned through the years working with a lot of different paths, if you don't have a bazillion candles, if you have white candles, like little chime type candles, get a box of them. They're like $10. And use them and write on them what color. Like you can carve it into them. You can use nail polish and just paint the sides or whatever. But that way you don't have to have all these other candles that you might use once and then you'll have 10 of them laying around. Just get a bunch of white ones. Literally the white one will cover all colors of the rainbow. If there's something specific you need black for, I recommend getting a black candle. But the rest of it, you can just get the white ones. The colors are for your conscious enhancement of a spell or a rite. So that's why they recommend using colors. Then in the second section, I haven't done too many of these ones, which is probably why I'm still single. But you have the love section is the middle one. And this particular one, are you too busy for love spell? And it goes down like obligations, personal priorities, family responsibility, special interests, so many things that snatch at your time when the day is over and you sleepily wiggle your toes and get ready to go to bed. Where's the time for romance and all that? And so this is one of those things where Your life's busy, life's hectic. How can you squeeze in the time? And so there's a 5-minute section, and that's what she talks about in here. Is it's a 5-minute ritual, but it's helping you reorganize the chaos in your life so that you can actually make space for the person that you are wanting to bring into your life. Oddly enough, this one does not have how to enhance it. I will say this from previous work. If you're doing love romance spells, full moon is recommended. New moon can work, but full moon is recommended. And Friday. Friday is Freya's day. It's also a day of Venus, so this is really ties into that love and romance thing. So when you start a lot of these, you want to see if you can set aside time on a Friday. And generally, you want to do these Friday morning, just as the sun's coming up, like as you're having your morning coffee sitting on the porch or whatever. That's the time to work the love and romance generally. There are a few of them in here. She actually puts other time frames, but like I said, my experience, those have been the best options. Then we have one, and this one just sounds fun. I haven't done it yet, but it's shopping for a lover. So you're basically writing your wish list, and then you're working a very small ritual. This entire thing, this is the working part of it. And if you go one page back, this is the title. So none of these are very long, and you get out of them what you're willing to put into them. And that's the key to all of this kind of stuff, whether it's manifestation, intuition, Wicca. If you're only doing this as a casual person, like, oh, I'll just do this quick thing and then go about my day and forget about it. Forgetting about it's important, but if you're not willing to put the effort into it or fulfill it, the universe is not going to give you anything back that you're not willing to put out. And that's what is important with these. Even though they might only be a page or two long, it's how much effort you're willing to put into it. Nothing has to be expensive. Are you willing to put in the time and effort, though? That's the key. So when we get into protection, there is like spells for protecting your personal property. This one I have used, and I recommend it a lot to different people, especially when they're feeling like there's somebody at them and they can't figure out how to push back. It is a sea salt protection bath. It's like Epsom salts, coarse sea salts, and then there's a bunch of essential oils, and a red ribbon. Really super simple stuff. And you just kind of mix it all together and store it in a jar with a ribbon. And when you need to use it, she talks about how to do it and how much to use. Because when you work with some of these, especially protection energies, a lot of the times less is more. The more you use of something, the less likely it's going to work. So if you want to tone it down just a little bit, because if you're walking into something and you're needing protection and your immediate response is, well, if a tablespoon will work, I'm going to use 2 gallons, you're putting so much fear out at that point that you're neutralizing whatever effect was going to happen. So that's where less is more when it comes to certain things, which, again, like I said, I really do appreciate this type of work that she's done here, because it makes life a lot easier. You don't have to stress about stuff. Find the simple things, work with them. And there's enough in here that every person who picks this up is going to find 1, if not 5, different things that they can use or that they can do literally tonight. Whenever you see this, literally, if you have this book in your hands right now, flip through it. You can find one of the spells in here that you can literally do tonight. They are not complicated, which is nice. This one I have used before, and I'm referencing it right now because we all could use a little of this, and I'm just coming out of some really intensely stressful times, and that is the Eliminate Stress Rituals. It goes through different ways you can clear things out. This is kind of an advice thing, but everything you put your will towards is an act of magic. So then she goes into some practical tips, different candles you can use, different styles of candles, and there are some really cool candles out there that you can dig around and find for different purposes. But she talks about some of those in here. And then there is this one, which is an interesting one. I haven't done either of the two on this, but it's ones that I've always kind of kept on a back burner. And it's more so with friends or work environment, like work friends type stuff, because it's the necessary separation. It's the black ribbon spell. And this is where sometimes you get that clingy coworker that just won't leave you alone, or you have that, don't want to use the S word because stalker is such an evil thing, but you have the person in your life that just won't get off you, and they're like, back off. This is a way to kind of remind them of their position in the world, which is over there and not near you. So that's one way to do it. There is a ritual in here also called in your face with disgrace. So it's a way to, again, you're pushing back, but you're not using so much negative energy. You're putting a bubble around yourself that says, listen, back off, leave me alone. But you're doing so in most cases by calling upon the divine to deal with them versus you have to deal with them, which makes it makes it a lot nicer when the Lord and Lady step in and are like, no, you go over there, leave this one alone. It's super helpful. And then she gets into this last little section here, which is when things get sticky, how to do kind of quick stuff when you're kind of in need yesterday type of a thing. Break apart those who stand against you. Candle magic for court cases. I haven't had to use that one, but there's a lot of good information there. Legal assistance powders. There is how to catch a thief, and then she gets into some fun stuff in here about different ways to encourage criminals to turn themselves in, things like that. So it's kind of fun. When things get deeper still, the right of the Furies. To be honest, not sure if I would touch that one. The Furies are not beings you want to play with. Different ways to report stuff, but then she gets into the end where like I said before, the correspondences at the back. This is kind of an all-in-one. I have several styles of all-in-ones just because I'm always curious as to what another person says or how they view it. I will say that Silver's stuff, a lot of people, I've heard from a lot of different things. Some people don't like her because it's too simplistic, but honestly, if you're going to be worshiping, why does it have to be complicated? Like, I was raised in a very, very strict Christian household, and when the more complicated they made something, the less important it was. And that's just how my brain processed it. Why are you spending this much time? Aren't we supposed to be talking to, God, Source Divine as our friend? Why do we have to go through all this rigmarole to get there? And she breaks it down so that, like, this is what you need. If you need an answer to a question, here you go. But then there's this other aspect to it, and she talks a little bit about it. It's not the focus with this one, with this set. But it's important to remember that even though we're doing these things to deal with our day-to-day life, there's a spiritual aspect of it that we can connect to, and that actually does increase our spiritual connection to God, Source Divine, which uplifts us as individuals. So if you're interested, I'll have this book linked in the hardcover, this version, as well as the Kindle. It is somewhat a book, one of the ones I highly recommend, just because of how simple things are and how easily accessible the supplies are. If you've used this book before, or any of her other works, let me know in the comments down below. I'm just kind of curious to see if there's a lot of interest in her type of stuff. Otherwise, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and I will see you in the next video.